Hello, everyone. Welcome back to part 5 of my Let's Play of What Remains of Edith Finch. Possibly the last part. We'll see. We'll see through this gameplay sequence what happens. We're currently on the top of the world. No, we're on the top of the Edith Finch house. We have climbed, we have ascended these rickety steps. I thought that we were going to fall off at a certain point. That's how scared I was. You can see everything's just kind of boarded together. This piece is not even, this is broken. The stairs do not exist anymore. But I keep getting more emotionally invested in the game. And it keeps getting more interesting, both gameplay and story-wise. So it has not lost me there. And if we're talking about a middling story, this is not it. The fact that we're able to experience the story in this way is also very novel. So it's not just the fact that the story is of good quality and we're learning about all these different, well fleshed out characters. We're learning about them through those interesting ways of actually being able to embody and play as them in the different gameplay sequences. So both the method of storytelling and the storytelling itself, I think, is well above average. That's how I'm feeling right now. And not just evaluatively, but what am I trying to say? Well, I anticipate this last part. Let's go ahead and get into it before I make any final thoughts.
I wish we'd stayed.
Wow. Okay, that delivery caught me off guard. I mean, she seems out of breath and like she really cared. I wish we'd stayed. Like she's straining herself. They packed up
I
after
understand
Lewis.
why we left.
She understands it, but she didn't want to go. So they packed up after Lewis's funeral. Didn't tell Edie. I mean, there were so many straws to break the camel's back, but Milton's death was what caused the mom to caulk up all the doors and make sure that no one sees anything. And then Lewis's death caused her to just leave entirely, to just be done, and that she didn't even want to experience that same area where any of this happened. It was too painful for her, for Dawn. So there's a whole nother kitchen area with everyone's names, like the bottom. Just like the kitchen we first walked into at the start.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
So she lived up here for a while too. Yeah, almost like she kept trying to get away. She made the loft above her siblings who died. Then she wanted to get away even further. So she made a loft above the house to try to get away from the house of all of her family members, not just her siblings. And then she left entirely and didn't want any remnants of, or remains of, the family either. Oh God. Give us faith to go out with good courage. Your hand is leading us and your love supporting us through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Yeah, definitely turning to religion. You just need something to believe in. Her husband died too as well. I don't exactly know how he did.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Okay, we're about to learn about the night they left, which is also a massive mystery. So it was something that needed to happen. Origami hanging from the ceiling. Childish painting of Edith's name with stuffed animals. Glowing stars and the kite that Gus operated. made out of newspaper.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now was to tell you about that last night.
The game has to end in one way or another. This seems to be it. Yeah, this is the ultimate culmination of everything. You can even see, like, I think it's like the different words that have been spilling at everything, now they're just jumbled up on the ceiling. We've reached our last prompt. There's remnants from Gus, there's Edith's name, there's the cranes and everything, which I assume that Milton might have made, since he was artistically inclined. Seems like there's remnants from everyone up here. There's the butterflies and the insects. Was that Sven? Or was that Odin? Might have been Odin. Everyone in the family had a different interest, but they weren't just their interests. There were a lot more that we tapped into. One could describe the characters as tropey, but they go beyond that because of the different sequences we get with them, and we learn more as the game goes along. First time we're lying down to rest. It's time to add to our journal in real time.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Yep, so Edie and Dawn having another disagreement. Edie thinks we should never leave those secrets, and Dawn thinks we should. And that's showing through this last night. The grown-ups are talking now. So, it seems like Edie, I don't know if she's killing herself by mixing the pills with alcohol, but yeah, it seems like she wants to die here. Am I in the main room? I am in the main room, it's just very dark. I wanted to see if I can hear what they're talking about. There's just, oh, they closed the door on me. Okay. Never mind.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
The power had been shut off. Did they run out of money to pay the bill? Are they too remote? Does it do
When
that
my
a
mom
lot?
said the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
Oh. Okay. So in my final journal
Or
entry,
that Edie had a key to it.
in my final journal entry, I'm going to visit the library, which is like the true graveyard, is what I remember. That's where the Finches are buried in their books.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
It isn't, is it? But existing in that space and kind of ruminating in it, it can get to you. Certain atmospheres, they make you feel some type of way, and it could put you in a really bad headspace. So I agree with Edie that it won't fix all her problems, but it could kind of be the catalyst for change and success if she gets out of this environment that she deems like bad for her mental.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your story.
Yeah, straight up blaming Edie and the Finch stories for driving everyone to death. I don't know. That's too harsh for Edie. It's not Edie's fault. It's cool that we get to both view these secrets and hear the conversation that we're not supposed to hear. That in itself is a massive secret, a bombshell. Hearing the way that they felt about us, talking about us, and talking about the deaths of the children. That's almost one of the biggest secrets right now, is listening into their conversation.
I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Making the decision for me.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Didn't you hear her? She's not leaving. Delusional. Milton Lewis. The mysterious death. And the afterlife. Okay, I was mentioning the afterlife. What happens to all the Finches? The night you were born, Odin. The field of people, the houses. Rain and Aegir? Valbol. This is like Norse mythology, maybe? The afterlife? That's also... What is that, Valhalla? I don't know if it's at all related, but that's just what I'm getting from these notes. I'm trying to piece it together before I get the big reveal. History of the Finches by Edie Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
This reminds me a lot of Dear Esther at this point. This gloomy atmosphere and kind of on the shore, and the last part with like boats and blinking in the distance. That was also present. Dear Esther. No car crash though here. Just about Edith's birth, which I thought we were going to get about the night that they left, which we kind of got with their argument. But now we're going back to when we're born, so this must be a massive bombshell.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Something special happened that night. Maybe something supernatural. Hopefully it caused a break in the Edith curse, or the Finch curse. Yeah, okay, the tide shifted all the way out.
An earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, what a coincidence.
They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it.
Are we playing as Edie right now?
When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
We are. So Edie's trying to get the secrets of the old house, just as we're trying to get the secrets of the new house, because that's like the secrets of her generation.
I got turned around.
Where am I? Yeah.
For a while, I wandered.
That's all you can do. I have no clue where we're going.
I started seeing things.
The deer from the start of the game.
things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Familiar sights from the
That
old house?
night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Great play on words. Yeah, these things already exist. We're just discovering them.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
We can't even finish it? No! We were so close! They ripped me out of the sequence, of the gameplay sequence. They removed my agency because of Dawn's actions. Mom
I
dragged
never
me
saw
to the
Great
car.
Grandma Edie again.
No! No!
The next morning, the band came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Already gone, like dead?
After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it.
Trying to make games out of these road trips about moving a lot. I used to do
A few
that.
years went by.
The dandelion is spelling out the words.
My mom didn't like to talk about it,
But you have to.
but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
That's the only way to heal. Is to talk about it. They just bottle up their feelings.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
She's existing in a jumble of words.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this.
Are we another Finch?
If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Oh, I can control
This
this
journal
now.
was supposed to be for you.
Am I inside of her heart? I'm definitely inside of Edith's heart right now. I hear it beating. Oh, and her blood vessels are her words and the letters that she uses to craft her stories. I mean, that's literally how we gained life as the Edith we're playing now, is through her journal, through tapping into people's stories. That's where the life lies, even though there's death all around. Need to find out who this
And
you
I hope
is.
you'll never see it.
I hope you'll
I just
never
want to
see
meet you
it.
and tell
Aw.
you all these stories myself.
She's so alone. Yeah. Wow.
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
I was thinking if there was any gameplay at all in this section. Okay, we end on mystery, we end on intrigue. The end of everything. Finish all stories. So I really did do everything. I'm so miffed that we didn't finish Edie's story because of Dawn. Even Edith at that point didn't want us to read the stories. She wanted us to tell. She wanted to tell us herself so she'd be less alone in the world. So who were we at the end? Were we a new Finch? Were we Milton? Who would come back? Wow. Just wow. Oh, there's the climbing wall. See Johann's name in the ending credits. Johann Lee, audio and unlockables programmer. Oh, unlockables, that makes sense. And then he makes an achievement for himself. Very nice. They're trying to make this ending credit scene a lot more personal too, by showing childhood photos of all of the makers of the game. All the script writers and developers and artists and everything. Making it seem like they're also part of one big family. Now we're in Barbara's part. I've got to process that. Initial thoughts, though? Yeah, we don't get this grand conclusion. We just get more mystery, which is par for the course, because you never truly understand the depths of secrets like this, I feel. And once you get a little bit, you always want to chase more and more and more, and that's what I was doing towards the end. I was chasing that last high, that last final secret that would make everything make sense, finally, but it really wouldn't have. It might have raised more questions than answers, which is what the ending did anyway. But at some point, maybe it is a form of closure. They moved on with their lives. Edith came back in her mind, but it seemed that another Finch that I was playing as actually came back in person. I knew that Edith would die. I thought it would tell me how she did, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Playtesters. Neil Druckmann from Naughty Dog, from the Last of Us games. I think they did Sly Cooper, maybe 2. Okay. Cool little Easter egg there. Enjoy. Thank you. On the Chinese takeout box. Oh yeah. We're going down the house until we get to the Edith Finch team. The end. Until we get to the kitchen. The replay a story option is now available. Select Edith to play from the beginning. Oh, this is now selecting which story we want to play? That's very cool, because at first I thought it was just a way to remember who was who in the family, because it's very confusing. But now I can actually just choose everyone. Then who am I, though? Can I play as myself? What happens if I choose play here? Do I start off the game again? Oh, there's those organ noises that you guys missed on the first playthrough, when the game had a opening, and I just paused the game. Back to where we started. Oh, that makes sense now, the Chinese takeout and everything. Huh. There's remnants of the family even here. Yeah, so she was taking a ferry to Orcas Island, but we still live through her journal. Hmm. Wow. Okay. Okay. I am in awe of this game. I want to give my final thoughts on it now. Evaluatively, this game is incredible. I was gonna call it a masterwork. I don't want to be too sudden with that term, but I thoroughly enjoyed the game personally, and I think beyond that, the game did a great job of having me embody different characters, and having a mix of like first person and third person, and like having a mix of gameplay styles as well. Like, I would describe this game as a massive heap of variety, right? It was never stale or boring like a lot of people might pin on walking simulators. And I don't know if the developers were trying to address that, but they sure as hell did, and did that well. And the different ways that you become the characters, they all mirror their interests, like Barbara with the horror-themed comic book, and Milton with the, like, you create a sea inside of the bathtub, and Molly where you become different types of animals to escape the house. It all is like pushing their desires, and it mirrors their personality no matter who you are. So I think that was done really well. I think I mentioned that the characters could seem tropey at times, but I think that's just kind of the initial gut reaction, and then once you analyze it further, these are fairly well fleshed out characters, albeit all shrouded in mystery. The game never wants to play its cards fully, and I completely understand that. It's mirroring how Edith and even the player will never know what truly happened here with the Finches, but we can kind of get a glimpse into it. There's always going to be that thought in the back of our mind that we could have seen or done more. Talk about caring about a family that never existed, though. This game really had me locked in. Wow. Alright. If I have any more future thoughts, then I will make another video or write them out. But at this point, I feel somehow very satisfied with the conclusion. And I want to figure out who we're playing as. I think I said it would be another Finch. They confirmed Milton's death here in 1992 to 2003, the year I was born. So I'm guessing it's another Finch or someone that has a connection to Edith. Guessing it's a Finch, though, which is why she would share the family secrets. If it was just a random person, it wouldn't be as personal as it was. So yeah, we are player Finch. That's what actually the game is going for. She wanted to share this with the player. No, but thank you guys so much for watching. I will definitively say this was a video game, and it was a very imaginative and innovative video game as well. I haven't played anything quite like it, and I think you guys can see that both in my reactions and my analysis of the game. I've played a lot of games in my life, and this scratched an itch that I didn't know needed to be scratched, especially with the different gameplay sequences and embodying different characters. I've never really done that in a lot of games. Usually you kind of stick with the same person, that linear progression, which the game was. It was sort of linear and discombobulated still. So it had a linear progression. Like, I knew that the game wanted me to go to certain places, and there were only certain paths I could take. But I still had a lot of freedom, I felt, in the way that I interacted, in the way that I analyzed and explored, and in the gameplay sequences themselves. And it was nice that they had so many different ways that I could interact with the sticks, right? I could control different characters sometimes with the sticks, or with RT and LT. You have to actually, like, open things a certain way to get to the hidden passages, for example. I just felt that they were really trying to make this controller make you feel more engrossed in the world. They were trying their best, and I think they did a great job. It reminded me of some of the gameplay sequences of the Astro's Playroom game on PlayStation. If you're not familiar with it, it really tries to use the controller as a tool where you feel the game through it, not just as I would say a lot of games just use it as like traditional, oh, you press A to jump, and you press B to cancel, and you press RT to shoot. They're just using your already preconceived notions of what the game is going to be like in the controls. And this one, it was a little different depending on who I was playing as or what I was doing. The controls were a little bit different, and I could still kind of intuitively figure them out as there was no tutorial, but it wasn't like perfectly set in stone and all my preconceived notions were just, the boxes were checked. That's not true. The game still subverted it for me. And it subverted partially the horror narrative. I mean, we're going to a creepy haunted house and we're seeing it's where all these people died, right? And then there were some horror tropes, but no true jump scares or anything. It was all just that sense of foreboding dread, maybe, and mystery that kept us going. More of a psychological horror, which not even, just tad bits of it, rather than like a tropey jump scare horror. But yeah, I'm gonna really marinate on my thoughts about this game. Thank you guys so much for watching. My first adult Let's Play ever. I feel the only Let's Play that I've ever taken seriously. And I'm just so happy that I was able to broadcast this to the world. Thank you guys. Have a great one.